On your way out, please sign the papers that are on the tables out there so we know that you're in attendance tonight. Also, if you need a full copy of our parent-student activities handbook, it's online, or if you'd like a hard copy, please email myself or Carrie in our activities office, and we'll be sure to get that out to you. A few introductions as we started again. I'm Justin Putz, Activities Director. Down here in the first row, Jack Getkin. He's our Junior High Activities Director. So if you're in 7th or 8th grade, he'll probably be your primary contact. Also over here is Cody Barnes. Cody is our athletic trainer that we contract through BCHC. So you'll see him at a lot of our varsity events. He's in school on Mondays here in the fall. Winter and spring, I think we go Wednesdays. And so then if you're in an injury there, he'll be someone that you'll contact and work with. All right, and this meeting is all inclusive of all of our activities, sports, music, speech, everything. A lot of things will be coach/sponsor, activities related. Our activities philosophy, activities need to help connect students and sponsor coaches to the school district while leading to a more positive learning environment. We believe in educational-based activities. They need to have connection to school and need to help the learning process. Activities must be a way to bring the entire community together. And activities provide an opportunity for students to grow and learn lessons that go well beyond the activity that they're involved in. That's really the philosophy we believe in and try to strive towards. Goals and objectives, to develop a team championship atmosphere. And what I mean by that is an atmosphere in which, whether it's on the basketball court, wrestling mat, football field, marching band, speech, whatever it is, to be in an atmosphere in which all participants come in every single day, do their best, strive for growth, and work together. And that's really what we're striving for. A culture of discipline and integrity. Have students be where they're supposed to be, honor their commitments, continue to work hard, work together. Develop a culture in which all activities work together to build each program up and allow students opportunity to participate in all areas of interest. Be first class in everything we do. Help grow our school-wide lifting program year 3, and to become the best educational environment in the state. Student activity conflict resolution. A lot of people in here have students that are in many things. We want students to be involved in as many things as possible, and when that happens, we do have a protocol for if a activity and an athletic event were to be on the same night, or if you had 2 sports, maybe in the spring, that are on the same night. Now we try as hard as we possibly can to make sure there's no conflicts. We don't want anything that we schedule to conflict with each other, from sport to music or sport to speech or whatever it is. However, there are times that things are out of our hands in terms of state contests, conference events. Some of those we really don't have any control over. So if that happens, typically our hierarchy, we work our way down. Number 1, state events are always first. So anything that's state, sectional, district, regional contest, they would have top priority over anything that's not state. WAMAC events will be the next priority. If the conflict exists because of postponement and 1 and 2 don't come into play, then the rescheduled event shall have the lowest priority unless it's a state event. Now we sometimes may run into that if we were in the winter. We had a jazz band contest, something got out of our hands there, we had to reschedule something. A scheduled event shall have priority over a practice session. In case of an athletic practice conflict, the sport in season shall have priority over sport not yet playing in season. If local events not signed by the state are scheduled the same day, the coach and sponsor shall communicate well in advance to resolve the conflict of the student. In no case shall the student be placed in a position of conflict by the coach and sponsor. Coaches and sponsors shall have the right to mutually resolve any student conflicts between themselves. And in case of conflict cannot be resolved, the principal, after consulting with the coach, sponsor, and athletic director shall resolve the conflict. Now, one thing I'll say about that, if there is a conflict, we will make every effort possible to accommodate both events. So the sooner we would know about any conflict, we've arranged vans to pick kids up mid-contest, we've arranged different bus times. We've done all kinds of things with as much notice as we possibly have to ensure that each student can do their multiple passions as much as they would like. Communication. Communication parents should expect from coaches. Parents should expect program parameters from the coach and sponsor. What is expected to play, perform, letter, etc. Expectations the coach sponsor has for their students, as well as team expectation of the program. Location, times of all practice and contest. Any team requirement, fees, special equipment, out-of-season work, etc. Procedure to follow should your student become injured or require medical attention during participation. Discipline as a result of the denial of your student's participation. That would be team-related. Any discipline that would be from school administration or violation of our code would come probably from myself. They say in a good conduct situation or academic eligibility. Communication coaches expect from parents. Notification of any scheduled conflicts well in advance. This is anything from a appointment that you have with a doctor, appointment, I know some appointments are 6 months out, the sooner you let them know, the better. Any trips that you're taking, academics, if you have a student that has a college class or they're taking the ACT or whatever it is, things come up as we go on. But again, the more communication, the better. Specific concerns regarding the program or the expectation of the program. If you have a concern about something, please bring it up in a timely fashion. Nothing drives me more nuts than hearing about a concern that's been out there for 3 or 4 months. Please bring it up at that time. Concerns to discuss with coaches. Again, I think anything on this list, all of our coaches would like you to discuss with them. If you have something on this list, please bring it forward. Treatment of if you have a concern about the treatment of your students, mentally, physically, please share that. Ways to help your students improve. Concern about your students' behavior on and off the field. If you have any concerns about the expectations on your athlete, or maybe why something is, we have no problem talking about that. Share goals your athlete has, or your participant. If they want to participate well after high school, please share that. If they just want to be a part of the team, I think sharing goals will allow your coach/sponsor to work more productively with your student. Inappropriate concerns discussed with coaches. Playing time. I think that's always going to be a coach's decision. Now, I think coach can share the thought how they do playing time. Maybe it's or how they do first chair, second chair, how you do which event and speech. There's ways that we can have that conversation, but being specific with playing time is not one of them. Team strategy, play calling, and other student athletes and participants. It's not real appropriate to discuss somebody else's student with them. Who to contact with the concern. We believe a lot in the chain of command. Honestly, staying within the chain of command is probably the fastest way to get something solved. If you have a concern, always talk to the head coach, sponsor first about it. And again, that's probably the fastest way to get something solved. And if you don't feel like you have something solved or you haven't got what you need, feel free to give myself a call or an email. After that, John Howard, our high school principal, then Superintendent Ms. Peterson will help you out as well. But again, always start at the bottom level. It's easiest to get the problem solved in a timely manner that way. Ways for parents to be involved. We had our first ever Mustang Roundup in here a couple weeks ago. And we had a wrestling coach, former wrestling coach at Wartburg College, Jim Miller, come in. And one of the things he talked about was everybody's on the team. And that's everybody in this room. And the easiest way to get where you want to go is have everybody going in the same direction. And, there's ways that everybody wants more involvement, more help in their programs. And, I just thought off the top of my head, this morning I was typing this ways in which, parents can be involved in the program. And there's many, many more than this. Help support the program, volunteer, join clubs. That could be Booster Club, Music Boosters, Rep Mac Club, Youth Basketball Club, whatever it is, there's ways in which we can help as well. A lot of our clubs are looking for volunteers to help with concession stands, stuff like that. Maybe it's keep stats, maybe it's take pictures, help with team meals, connections to potential guest speakers that you have that can maybe come talk to the team, post-game celebrations, etc. Don't hesitate to talk with your coach/sponsor about ideas that you might have to help. Help ensure students are at performances, workouts, games, camps. Many times, I'll use the example of the weight room. I can't make them get in there. but we can strongly encourage and help communicate issues or barriers that we have and work through them. Create a positive, supportive environment. That's for your kid at home, for coaches, for other spectators, for everybody. Sell the program. Social media, be positive to other parents out in the community about all the good things that our activities are sponsoring. I believe that we have a really, really strong activity program. We have nice quality athletics. We have great music, we have great speech, our musical, our fall play. It goes on and on. We're always adding clubs in the last few years. But just be positive out there in social media and to the community, and I think we can really get momentum going. Now, on the same token, I do want to share some of our information policies with us. Eligibility, high school sports. This is actually state law. It's not necessarily an independence policy. There's really no wiggle room in this one. If you're in sports and you fail class, you're ineligible for 30 days from the first competition date. All right, so it's a straight 30 days. It's as many games that fall under that time frame. That's how it is. If you're out for speech, the Iowa High School Speech Association, again, this is their bylaw, and that's our law. They're out 30 days from the end of the grading period. Junior high. Junior high is a little bit different. This is our own independence policy. After week 3, grades are checked every 2 weeks. If kids have 2 Fs, they're out for 2 weeks. Whether they get those Fs up tomorrow, the next day, they're out until they checked again, and they no longer have 2 Fs. This will probably start early on in September. Good conduct policy. We do expect that our athletes and participants in activities we have high expectations of how they behave, in school and as well as out of school. If a good conduct policy would be broken, I'll share that in the next few slides. It would be first offense would be 20% of the season. Second offense would be 50% of the season. Third offense would be 1 calendar year. Fourth offense would be prohibited from extracurricular activities for the remainder of their high school career. All right, examples of violations. This is out of our handbook, our student handbook. Sell, manufacture, distribute illegal drugs. Possess, use, or threaten to use any instrument that is generally considered a weapon. Possess, use, or be under the influence of illegal drugs. Possess, use, influence of alcoholic beverages. Assault or physically or sexually abuse any person. Use, possess, or transmit tobacco or imitation substances. Damage, destroy, vandalize, or steal school property or personal property of employees, students, visitors of the school. Participate in any conduct that in Iowa is illegal. One important note is whether or not an arrest or conviction occurs, except for simple misdemeanors under traffic violations. Have found in cases of bullying or harassment or discrimination based on all of those. And then the other one is other conduct, and if you have administration council composed of the junior senior high principal, junior senior high assistant principal, junior senior high activities director that portrays the school district, independence community in a negative manner. Those will all be examples of violations. Now, one thing to note is this is subject but not limited to. We can't have every single violation listed, and so there could be potentially others as well. What the policy applies to: all of our athletics teams, fine arts, speech, co-curricular clubs, jazz band, AV Tech, class officers, cheerleading, FFA, honorary officers, dance team, student council, National Honor Society, any other school activity where a student represents the school. Example could be overnight trips. So it's an all-inclusive policy that does cover all of those. Attendance. Under normal circumstances, students have to be in school to participate for us. They have to be at school by noon to participate in a practice or competitions, and that's from everything from athletics to activities as well. Students are not allowed to have an unexcused absence during the school day. They're just leave for the day. They would not be allowed to participate. Expectation that our events, we want everybody to be a supporter. And that kind of goes back to the thought of everyone's on the team. The atmosphere we're trying to create at our games is one that's going to get everybody moving in the same direction. Practice good sportsmanship. We expect our coaches, players, fans, everybody to model sportsmanship. We're not going to yell at officials, players, coaches. We're not going to heckle the other team. We're not going to approach coaches after the games with concerns. Again, there's times to bring up concerns. I don't necessarily think immediately after the game is that time. Next day is a better time. And sometimes it can be tough trying to coach from the stands. You know, there's a million ways to do things. Kids are coached to do things certain ways. Sometimes it can be confusing. Cooperate with all game management and school personnel. Everybody from administrator on duty to ticket taker to school janitor to whoever it is. And my goal is really to change the culture and image, and this is probably particular in our athletics. And I have up there in quotes, but we don't do that here. And that's probably what people hear from me throughout the year. You know, if we have people kind of getting wound up, I'll probably say, hey, you know, we don't do that here. And you know, my goal is that other people in the stands can say that as well. Hey, you know, we don't do that here. Because one of the things I think is that we can help police ourselves a little bit before anybody gets too wound up. It's always good to get the situation before it gets bad. I think we've had a spectator kicked out of an event each year for the last 4 years. All right, it's not been a ton, but as a tradition, I'd like to end. You know, I just like to give the point of, you know, we don't do that here. I think it's simple, easy, something everybody in this room can remember and contribute to as well. And you know, one thing I want to share about our sportsmanship ratings. Actually, this is for boys sports, and the Girls Association doesn't do this yet, but our players, this is rated by officials. The boys were rated above state average in sportsmanship in 5 of the 5 sports rated last year. And so I'm happy to see that our athletes did that. Our coaches were above state average in 4 of the 5 sports that officials rate. Our adult spectators are below state average in 4 of the 5 sports officials rate. And I don't necessarily think we're necessarily unique in that fact, but I want to change it. You know, I want to get back to we don't do that here. And it goes back to my very first few slides of what our philosophy and what our goals are. And you know, our goal is to be the best educational environment to stay in educational activities. And we always need to make sure we keep things in the right, you know, context and being supportive. And remember, everybody's on the team. Questions?
You know, we have standards for our students and behavior, and if they cross the line, it's clearly laid out what the expectations are. And over the course of the last several years, we've lost some very good coaches because of harassment by parents and adults. Are there any guidelines for the parents saying, here's the line, you cross it, you're out?
Yeah, in the full, we have a full list of spectator expectations in the handbook. But you know, I think it's simple. I think it comes down to keeping everything in the right context. Now, typically, when we had a fan ejected from a game, they had to meet with myself before they can come back to one of our events. Normally not allowed at an event or so between that time frame. And we discussed it, and it's board policy where if something else would happen again, it might end up being a thing where it would be where they wouldn't be welcome at our events again. So, and again, I hope we don't get to that situation. I think keeping things in the right context is important. All right, we'll end the night. I know Troy Butters from the Independence Booster Club wants to speak here a little bit. I'll turn the mic over to him quickly.
Good evening. I want to thank everyone for coming tonight. I'm Troy Butters, Vice President of the Mustang Athletic Booster Club. We want to thank you all from our student athletes and coaches, share with you the mission of our booster club, and thank you for all you do. It's simple. We support all of our student athletes and coaches. A few examples of things we've helped with this past year. Since 2010, the boosters have directly spent over $140,000 on football, basketball, track, and cheerleading uniforms, team camps, shared fees for state hotel rooms, shared fees for a new wrestling mat, game balls, weighted goals, softball pitching mat, baseball safety screen, practice jerseys, pitching machines, eagle eye track system, weighted medicine balls for strength and agility, mascot costume, new cameras, weighted racks, basketball warm-ups. Additionally, we sponsor 4 scholarships for graduating seniors every year for Dollars for Scholars. Our club also made donations to the new high school and Final Push at the baseball softball field. We are able to support these efforts because we sponsor a variety of fundraising events that have included concession stands, the clothing booth, annual golf outing, and Pro Pick raffle, and of course, business and family memberships. This year, we will have a Drive One fundraiser through Rydell Ford here in Indy. We would love for you to take the opportunity to become a Booster Club family member. Our basic membership starts at only $30. We are in the process of refocusing our club's organizational plan. Your volunteers' efforts to the Booster Club could be a one-day wrestling concessions weekend or a couple months planning by serving on a subcommittee golf outing, or a year-long commitment being on the Booster Club Central Committee. With your membership, you will receive emails regarding Mustang athletics and opportunities to get involved. We will offer you the chance to donate your time, but do not require that of our members. You can also stay up to date by following us on Facebook at Mustang Athletic Booster Club. We really appreciate your support. Our members are passing out membership forms. Complete the forms and return to the high school office with your check or cash. It's a great time to be a Mustang. Any questions?
When's the drive?
I believe October 20th. 28th, I'm sorry. 28th. Any other questions? Thank you, and go Mustangs.
Thank you. I appreciate everybody coming. Again, if you haven't signed in yet, make sure you sign in. And my closing thought of the day is one of our 5 school board goals is to have an exemplary activities department. And as I tell our athletes all the time, everything matters. You know, everyone's on the team. The closest way to get there is to have everybody working in the same direction. We'll take about a 10-minute break, and I'll have a football parents meeting. But thanks for coming. Appreciate it.